Well, good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Fellowship of Spirit in Farmington, New Mexico Zoom meetings. My name is Ron Holloway, and I really want to welcome everyone who is here. I don't see any new faces, but hopefully there will be some more people continue to join us as time goes on. Our main speaker today is our own Susan Barnes Smith, who was one of the co-founders of Fellowship of Spirit many years ago, and she now lives in Belize. But through the magic of the internet and Zoom, she is able to be with us and bring us our message today, and we're anxiously waiting for that because we know that she always brings good things. Uh, Jerry, are there any announcements we need to make at the beginning?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just
All
the
right.
two of them about the time change in the board meeting, but I think it'd be best to mention those at the end.
We will talk about those at the end. No,
Okay.
so sometimes we have stuff in the beginning that might be pertinent to this message, to this meeting,
Nope.
but no.
Nope.
Okay. I am going to mute everyone because you can unmute yourself, but everyone is muted now. So, Steve told me yesterday that he would pray for us this morning. So, Steve, are you ready with that prayer?
Just 1 minute, and I will be.
No.
Thanks in advance for your patience. I just had to see Jenny and the granddaughter off. So fiddling with my equipment here.
Yeah. Well, 1 minute of dead air time is on long.
That's right. Well, here I go.
Okay.
Okay. Y'all see me, I think?
Yep.
I actually looked up invocations, and I came across these three, and they don't read like invocations, but I'm going to put them all three together because they're really lovely thoughts by people we know. And here it goes. The fruit of silence is prayer. The fruit of prayer is faith. The fruit of faith is love. The fruit of love is service. The fruit of service is peace. And that's from Mother Teresa. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy. And that's Rabindranath Tagore. There's the third one. Work like you don't need money. Love like you've never been hurt. Sing like nobody's listening. Dance like nobody's watching. Live like it's heaven on earth. And that's Mark Twain, which surprised me. My prayer is that through this service, we continue to discover the nuance of these thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And Fred, are you ready with a song for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
How was your week?
It's been all right. It's getting warmer, so I got a lot more done on my drums because I can work outside a little bit. So besides that, just the same.
Warmth and sunshine make everybody feel better, don't they?
Yeah, I think I got my second COVID shot on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was. So here in a week or two, I guess I'll be fully protected, right? So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's great. Good. Everybody should get a vaccine so we can get back together sooner. That would be my thing, right? The sooner you get vaccinated, the sooner we can have services again. So
we're gonna talk about that at the end of the service.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Oh, you gotta allow sharing there, Steve.
I
mean-
did.
Ron, sorry. There we go. So here's this song. One of those beautiful songs that Will gave us. It's from Peggy Singer, not the same Seeger. I think it's a cousin of Pete's. So it's called Love Call Me Home. When the waters are deep, friends carry me over. When I cry in my sleep, love call me home. Time carry me down that river. Friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey. Love call me home. Home. When the waters are cold, yeah, friends carry me over. When I'm losing my hope, love calls me home. Time carry me down that river. Friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey. Love call me home. Home, home. When I'm weary and cannot swim, yeah, friends carry me over. Open your arms and take me in, and love call me home. Time carry me down that river. Friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey. Love call me home. Call me home. Take the gift I bring, yeah. Friends carry me over. Deep within me, life is singing, yeah. Friends carry me home. Time carry me down that river, and my friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on this journey, and love calls me home. Calls me home, home. Life offers a chance for friends to carry us over. Time can stop or dance forever, and love will call you home. Time carry me down that river. Friends will carry you safely over. Life tend us on our journey, and love calls us home. Calls us home. Calls us home.
All right. Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome.
One of our old standbys. It's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, this morning we have Mike Rose is going to do our spiritual reading, and I think that Mike is probably ready now. Are you ready, Mike?
I am.
All right.
So this is kind of a oldie but a goodie, and I think we probably all heard this, but I think it's worth hearing again. So this is: an American businessman was at the pier of a small coastal village when a small boat with just one fisherman docked. Inside the small boat were several large yellowfin tuna. The American complimented the Mexican on the quality of his fish and asked how long it took to catch them. The Mexican replied, "Only a little while." The American then asked, why didn't he stay out longer and catch more fish? The Mexican said he had enough to support his family's immediate needs. The American then asked, but what do you do with the rest of your time? The Mexican fisherman said, I sleep late, fish a little, play with my children, take siesta with my wife, Maria, stroll into the village each evening where I sip wine and play guitar with my amigos. I have a full and busy life, senor. The American scoffed. I am a Harvard MBA and could help you. You should spend more time fishing, and with the proceeds, buy a bigger boat. And with the proceeds from the bigger boat, you could buy several boats. Eventually, you would have a fleet of fishing boats. Instead of selling your catch to the middleman, you could sell directly to the processor, eventually opening your own cannery. You would control the product, processing, and distribution. You would need to leave this small coastal village and move to Mexico City, then LA, and eventually New York City, where you will run your expanding enterprise. The Mexican fisherman asked, but senor, how long will this all take? To which the American replied, 15 to 20 years. But what then, senor? The American laughed and said, that's the best part. When the time is right, you would announce an IPO and sell your company's stock to the public and become very rich. You would make millions. Millions, senor? Then what? The American said, then you would retire, move to a small coastal village, fishing village, where you would sleep late, fish a little, play with your kids, take siesta with your wife, stroll into the village in the evening where you could sip wine and play your guitar with your amigos.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Okay. Susan Barnes Smith is well known to all of us. She was one of the co-founders of Fellowship of Spirit, and also her massage school back years ago, the early 90s. And she was a mainstay and supporting and running the fellowship for quite a number of years. But a few years ago that she and her then husband, Randy, moved to Belize, and where she continued to be a healer, an educator, and a person who actually is spiritually seeking more and more knowledge to help more and more people. And she is recently rejoined our Course in Miracles group via Zoom, and she is now facilitating our classes, and we are enjoying that new input. And so she is well known and well loved by all of us. Let us welcome Susan Barnes Smith. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, let's see how this works. It's really good to see all of you. And of course, I would choose something on wellness because that's what I focus on. And even down here, actually, in some ways, I'm even busier with my wellness than I was before.
Yeah, Susan, can you turn your music down a little bit? It's really distracting from your voice.
Okay, just one moment. Let me do this. I'll just turn that off. I didn't know if it was going to be distracting or not. Anyway, so I want to start off with a Buddhist healing poem for peace and wellness that is from an ancient Indian leader, Atisa, from the 11th century. And here he says, the greatest achievement is selflessness, and the greatest worth is self-mastery. The greatest quality is seeking to serve others, and the greatest precept is continual awareness. The greatest medicine is the emptiness of everything. The greatest action is not conforming with the world's ways. The greatest magic is transmuting the passions. The greatest generosity is non-attachment. The greatest goodness is a peaceful mind. The greatest patience is humility. The greatest effort is not concerned with results. The greatest meditation is a mind that lets go. And the greatest wisdom is seen beyond appearances. And that's, you know, the truth has a certain ring to it. And sometimes we all need a little bit of wisdom to realign with our higher selves. So wellness. Wellness is the pursuit of continued growth and balance in many different areas, not just one. Most people think of wellness as physical health only. And the word brings to mind thoughts of nutrition, exercise, all of that. But it's much more than physical health. It's full integration of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It's just a complex interaction, always interacting, that leads to a quality, not a quantity, but a quality of life. Wellness is, like I said, several different dimensions, and each dimension contributes to our own sense of wellness and the quality of our lives. And each affects and overlaps the others. As at times one may be more prominent than others, but neglect of any one for any length of time has an adverse effect on your overall health. So what I'd like to do is focus on 4 of the main keys to a balanced and healthy life. So peace of mind begins by regularly renewing and strengthening the key dimensions of your life, which is, you know, your body, your brain, your heart, and your soul. So you have to balance all of this. And it's important because one dimension always affects the others. So let's take an example. If you have car tire and just one of them is out of balance, then all 4 wear unevenly. And then if we're out of balance, it's hard to be friendly. Now that would be a heart thing. When you're exhausted, a physical thing. And it also works the other way. When you feel motivated and in tune with yourself, now that's from your soul, it's so much easier to focus on your studies or whatever else you're doing, which would be from the mind, and to be much more friendly, which would come from your heart. So all sickness comes from separation. And when the separation is denied, then that sickness goes. And it's kind of like Fred's talk last week. All healing is essentially the release from fear. So physical illness itself represents a belief in magic, the belief that there's a creative ability in matter, which our minds can't control. Sickness is not an accident, and it's a defense So like all defense, it's kind of an insane device for self-deception. And its purpose is to hide reality, to attack it, to change it, to distort it, twist it, reduce it to, oh, well, a pile of unassembled parts. The aim of all defenses is to keep the truth from being whole, to keep us from being whole. So these little parts are seen as if each one were a whole within itself. And I often think of my people who come to see me here. For example, there was a lady and she was told she had carpal tunnel. And so of course they wanted to do surgery. And she said, no, I don't think so. So someone had sent her to me and I was working with her and she was talking about all the different times that she was having difficulties. And a year before she'd been having some low back problems. So I said, oh, well, let's see how that is. So I went into the muscles for the low back and they were still fairly tight. Now she hadn't been feeling a lot of low back pain, mostly neck, shoulders, and of course then her wrist. She couldn't even move her wrists at all. And she couldn't pick up hardly anything. So we worked on the low back. And then all of a sudden she goes, oh, and she could move her wrist. We are connected in every way. So sickness is a decision to keep separate. And it's not a thing that just happens to us that makes us weak and it brings us suffering. It's a choice I make, a plan, when just for an instant, we don't want to face the truth. And the truth is that we are whole and we are spirit. So when our world seems to totter and fall apart, then oftentimes we feel sick. We feel sick to our stomach. We feel burdened down. Our shoulders hurt. We feel unable to look certain ways. And so, you know, we don't see both sides. Now we feel sick. And the truth goes away and we don't realize that it was a thought. So how do you think that sickness can succeed in keeping us from the truth? Because it proves that the body is not separate from who you are. So it's separate from truth. You suffer pain because the body does. And it's in this pain that we're made one with the body. So then our true identity, our spiritual selves, well, that's hidden because we think that we're the body. And we forget. We forget that we are something more than this body. So the body is healed when the source of the sickness has been open to relief. So all of a sudden we can see another side of the issue because all of a sudden our burdens are released. Because all of a sudden with low back, we feel supported, loved, we feel financially safe. So ideally the body should not feel at all. If you've been successful, there's not going to be any sense of feeling ill. But really, we don't need to even feel well. Pain and pleasure are both of the body, not necessarily the spirit. However, our bodies are very useful and they are a communication device and they let us know what is going on. So many of people come with UTIs. And so I say, okay, so who's pissing you off? Why do you have a bladder infection? And oftentimes they'll go, oh yes, I've been upset with somebody. And so then their body is able to heal once they look at the emotional or the spiritual side of things. So the only thing The only thing that's required for a healing is a lack of fear. So how can you who are so holy suffer? Because when you think about it, when you realize that all of your past, except its beauty, that's gone. There's nothing left but a blessing. You know, our Creator has saved every one of our kindnesses, every one of our loving thoughts. He's purified all the errors that ever hid your light. And He just keeps us all and so perfect, so whole. All of this kindness, all of this love, it's beyond all distraction. And we know that what God has created is eternal. And you can leave this life in peace because knowing you are loved by the Creator. You are whole. You are one. So your heart is pure to hold these thoughts, to have this faith in the Creator. And your hands are strong to give love, to give help. There's no way we can lose. There's no way we can stay ill when we find our spiritual selves. We are strong because it is our Creator's heart and His hands. That's where we have our being. That's who we are. We are His children, and all the thoughts of God are with us. So no one can heal unless we understand the purpose that sickness serves, which is as a communication device, as a way of telling us, look at your life, for then you can understand the purpose. When you see this, then is your healing. Then it comes. Because it dispels all the meaningless burdens or situations or whatever, because they've all been carried to the truth. They've all been taken and you have put them upon the Creator. And He says there is nothing. So healing flashes across your mind as peace and truth. They rise to take the place of war and vain imaginings. And there will be no dark corners that sickness can conceal or keep defended from the light of truth. There's no dim figures from your dreams or no meaningless things with double purpose that are remaining in your mind. So you can be healed of all the sickly wishes that you made your body obey. So let's go into each one of the 4 dimensions that we have. So physical wellness encompasses a variety of healthy behaviors, such as exercise, nutrition, abstaining from harmful habits such as drug use, alcohol abuse. It's learning and identifying symptoms of disease, symptoms of disharmony with the universe. And so when you develop these healthy habits, that's going to add years to your life and also enhance the enjoyment and the quality of all those years. So of course, what are the tips for physical wellness? And some of these actually, I noticed they interlock. That's never just for one part. So what I teach for my students is New Start Gap, nutrition, eating good foods. And for here in Belize, the 2 major things are, number 1, are you drinking soda? Soda is a toxic poison and it'll keep weight on you. It sets you up for diabetes, for heart disease, for Alzheimer's, all kinds of things like that. The other thing that people here in Belize are often guilty of is using the trans fats or the vegetable oils. You need olive oil, coconut oil, those are your best to use. But they're using soy, canola, all of these vegetable oils, which are really high in omega-6s, which again throws your body out of balance. And then, of course, they're using all of the margarines, the Blue Bonnet. Blue Bonnet's the biggest down here. Blue Bonnet, Imperial, there's a few others. And what I keep telling them, you need to use what's whole, pure, and natural. So you use real butter. And all of these things that, from a nutritional point of view, help to keep you healthy. The other thing is to exercise. One of the best things is to dance, because dance, it involves your mind and your body. So you're actually getting two of your dimensions at the same time. But good exercise. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, really wonderful forms because they open up all the meridians. And of course, since I do mainly traditional Chinese medicine, I deal a lot with the meridians. So doing those type of things are really, really good. Drinking water. Now, I don't drink water, but I drink what they call structured water, which would be like coconut water, water with lime, cucumber, watermelon juice. Of course, down here we have so many different fruits. Pineapple juice, fresh squeezed orange juice. All of these things are really very, very good for the body. Getting sunshine. Most people who have cancer, diabetes, heart disease, anything, they are lacking vitamin D. And where do you get your vitamin D? You get it from the sun. Now, that doesn't mean to go out and get burned, but it does mean going out into the sun, maybe first thing in the morning for 15 or 20 minutes, or right before the sun goes down, and let those rays fall upon your body. The next thing they found for physical wellness is actually forgiveness. Almost all people who are very ill seem to have a forgiveness issue. And they need to forgive not just another person or a situation, but they need also to be able to forgive themselves. And for a lot of people, they even need to forgive God. Air, breathing deeply of good, clean air. That's very important. And rest for 7 hours a night, 7 to 8 hours, and to do it in as complete darkness as you possibly can. The next thing actually for your physical wellness is trust in a higher power. Not just saying that you are of one denomination or another, which a lot of people do, but trust. When you have that burden, to trust it, you put it on the Creator. You don't need to do anything. You thank Him for taking care of the problem. It's solved. Not maybe in the way you think, but it will be solved. And it will be for your highest good and for your greatest health. Grounding is the next thing. Grounding, walking barefoot on the ground, on tile, on cement, anything that's of the earth. Being in harmony with the earth, hugging a tree, hugging each other. Attitudes of gratitude, thankful for all things, even our opportunities, for obstacles in our path, because this is how we grow. So we need to have that attitude of gratitude. And the last one is beneficence, sharing of your time, your knowledge, your energy. There are so many young people who have none of the experiences that we have as having a little bit more of life under our belts. And so to share that. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I keep on teaching, because traditional Chinese medicine, especially Tui Na, though what I use, is becoming a lost art. I mean, even up in the States, there were only 100 out of 330 million, 100 of us who knew this type of work. So for me, that's my sharing of what I know. So let's move on to another dimension of our lives, and that's the emotional. It's in a dynamic state that fluctuates with all the other dimensions, of course. But being emotionally well is defined as possessing the ability to feel and express your emotions, happiness, sadness, grief. It's the ability to love and to be loved, because you have to be able to give it, but you have to be able to receive it also. To achieve a sense of fulfillment in your life. So emotional wellness means optimism, self-esteem, self-acceptance, and the ability to share your feelings with others. And when it comes to self-acceptance, that seems to be a difficult one for many people. And I'm thinking about, even when I'm speaking with my son, he was saying, you know, he realized that he has not ever felt that he's accepted himself, and his self-esteem has been very low. And it's really wonderful that at his age, he's able to look at this and see it, and to be able to turn that around. So it's some tips for that is, as he did, look at your thoughts and your feelings and see how you can turn them around. And one of the ways is by accepting who you are. Who are you? You are the holy child of God, and you are worthy of everything, absolutely everything that is wonderful and good and beautiful. And with us in mind, you cultivate an optimistic attitude. I mean, even in the worst of times, even when I thought I lost everything, I said, no. One of the rules of Buddhism, energy, you never lose it. It's always there, and you never really lose what's yours, not truly yours. To seek for and also to provide support for others. Again, a giving and a receiving. Learn how to manage your time. Learn how to manage your stress levels. And a lot of that means loving yourself, giving yourself enough time to do all the things that you really need to do. And that means taking care of your physical health. To accept and forgive yourself. Because even though none of us are perfect, that doesn't mean that we are loved any less by our Creator. And if He can love us, can we not? If He can forgive us, can we not? We need to keep our promises. If you promise something and you don't carry it through, it will come back and it will hurt you emotionally. Doing small acts of kindness, being loyal to your friends, to your family, to your belief system. Learn to listen. Oftentimes when people talk, they'll say words, and you need to hear what they're not saying. Listen to them. And the last one for the emotional one is to apologize if you have hurt someone or if they thought you did. The next dimension that we're going to is the intellectual. So that encourages the creative aspects of you. It's to stimulate your mind. So our minds need to be continually inspired and exercised. People who possess high level of intellectual wellness have an active mind and they continue to learn. And I think about the story of the lady who was 82 years old and she decided she's going to go back to college. And there was a young gentleman that sat next to her in one of the classes, and he said, "So why are you here?" And she says, "Well, I could stay 82 and not do anything and not learn anything new. I'd be 86 and I'd just be the same. Or I can take these classes, get a degree, learn all kinds of new things, make new friends, and how much better that would make my life when I'm 86." And so she went through that. She inspired a lot of people. And very shortly, of course, when she graduated, I'm sure she got a standing ovation. Anyone that age should have a standing ovation. And so what she did is, after that, she passed. But think of all the people she inspired by what she had done. So an intellectually well person uses the resources available to expand your knowledge, improve your skills, your concentration, your meditation, your mental development. All of this leads to a path of wisdom, which leads to a path of personal freedom. So mental development strengthens and controls our mind. And this helps us to maintain good contact, good contact. So as she did, take a course, take a workshop. There's all kinds of webinars on the web right now. Learn a foreign language. I know I still need to learn Spanish. Most of my people come in and they speak Spanish. They speak Hindi, they speak Chinese. We have so many languages here, and almost everyone speaks 2 or 3 languages. Seek out people who challenge you intellectually, who stimulate your mind. Keep reading. Learn to appreciate art. So write yourself a story, a poem, or a song. And when I think of that, when I was looking at that, I said, oh, Marion, because Marion had written a couple of beautiful books, which I have and I appreciate so much. To play a challenging board game, which of course now on the internet you can get on, and there's all kinds of games, and to solve crossword puzzles. Learn to play a musical instrument. Often reminds me of my optometrist, his wife. And she was saying, here she was 63, and she was just learning to play the piano. She was so proud of herself. And I will never forget how she talked about it. And I think that that's a wonderful thing. And if I ever find enough time, I need to start doing that too. And of course, have stimulating conversations with your friends, which is why I have Miss Jerry, because she's always stimulating my mind with all kinds of new thoughts. I always go, I didn't look at it like that before. And the last dimension that we're going to look at is our spiritual wellness. And so that involves a set of guiding beliefs, principles, values that give direction to our life. It encompasses a level of faith, of hope, commitment. It is so important. Be committed to your faith, that this is what will give meaning and purpose to your life. For it's that willingness to seek that meaning and purpose that makes our existence worthwhile. Question everything and appreciate all the things which cannot be explained or understood. And all the things, when we think about that, the things, like I said before, the obstacles, the negative, what appears to be a negative situation. Learn to appreciate it, because that's your lesson. That's to make you strong and to recognize your own deep spiritual well-being. So a spiritually well person seeks harmony between what lies within, as well as with all the forces outside, with nature, with God. Of course, God's not outside us, it's inside. So ways to do this: to spend time alone, to meditate regularly, be inquisitive and curious, ask questions, go down that rabbit hole, find what's on the other side, and be fully present in everything you do. And I know that every time that I am not fully present, then those are the times that I stumble and I almost fall. Listen with my heart and live by your principles. Allow yourself and all those around you the freedom to be who they are. See opportunities in all the challenges that life brings you. Remember to serve others. I am here only to be truly helpful. Go for a walk, feel that balance with nature. Things that cross over to the other dimensions: drawing, praying, music. Think deeply. Practice your religion and also keep a journal. And so to you, peace be to you, to whom healing is offered. And you will learn that peace is given you when you accept that healing for yourself. Namaste.
Thank you, Susan. That was really, really good talk. Lots and lots of great information, and a lot of reminders for us about things that we already knew, but that we need to be reminded of them because we forget sometimes. And we thank you for coming and sharing with us. We love you. Does anyone want to open up and talk to share with Susan anything? Just unmute and talk.
I want to thank you for your friendship. I value it, and I'm so glad that we can be the recipient of your wisdom and your advice without having to go to Belize, even though I love going there. But it's nice to be able to experience it here and to be reminded of what we need to do to perpetuate our own health. Thank you.
And your cabin is waiting for you, dear.
Mhm.
And my porch.
Beautiful veranda. You can sit out on it now.
Tell us, Susan, how to learn more about Tui Non.
Oh, how to learn more about it. In what ways were you interested, Margaret? I mean, okay, Tui Non encompasses 5 different things. It's basically Eastern chiropractic. It works with the meridians and all of the acupoints, such as an acupuncturist would use. It encompasses diet and nutrition. It encompasses the study of herbs. It encompasses the study of the mind-body connection. All of these things are what Tui Non is. It's not just, one thing. And you can sit in on my classes. My classes are on Sunday, 1:30 to 3:30. And I have a student in Canada, and she gets on, Messenger, and she listens into class. So that's how you would learn more about it.
Susan, to support what you had talked about on the emotional wellness, the way I've always heard it explained kind of more concisely is the first step is self-love. That you've got to love yourself. Bill's a good guy. He makes mistakes a time or two, but he's a good guy. Then you need to have your boundaries. You need to be able to establish your boundaries. Then you need to be able to express your wants and needs appropriately. And that will lead to emotional wellness.
Exactly. And you're right. You have to learn to love yourself, which is why I say to everyone, who are you? You are the holy child of God. How could you not love yourself? And yet many people do not.
Because of events in our life that tell us that we're not good enough. We all have that little guy in the mind called the ego, and he wants to take any one of those things and just beat the crap out of you to make you think you're not good enough.
That's true. That's true.
Bill, you need to learn to fight with your ego and come out the winner. I'm not saying I do it all the time, but it's like a battle. Sometimes you just gotta whip him into shape.
That's where faith in a higher power is so important. Because when you truly believe there is nothing stronger than the creator, than your spirit, ego becomes the servant, not the master. And I think that that's something, Jerry, that's in course somewhere.
I'm sure it is.
It tells you how to kick that ego down.
Fighting with your ego only makes it stronger. Your ego wants you to fight with it and argue because it makes the ego more important to do that.
Well, and I say that often because everyone says, oh, you have to fight to overcome. I said, no. And actually, Mother Teresa's, that's what she said. Someone said, will you march against war? And Mother Teresa said, no, I will not march against war. Now, you want me to march for peace? I will march for peace, but not against. And you're right, because whenever you fight against, and that's a martial arts thing in Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu and all of that stuff, you don't fight anyone. You let their own negativity fly past you.
Thank you, Susan. I think your talk is also great for young people. A lot of young people should hear this. Thank you.
You know, I have to tell you, all of these years, now I've been teaching since 92.
Mhm.
Most of my students, with a very few exceptions, have been in their 40s, 50s, or older. And especially down here in Belize, most of my students have been over 50. And it's just been in the last 6 months that I've actually started to attract people who are younger. I wish more people, more young people would be interested in this. Because the other thing, now, Margaret, this might interest you too, is that Tui Na, okay, is traditional Chinese medicine. But Tui Na came from the Maya. It's basically ancient Maya medicine. So I'm right back where it all started. And the sad part of it is, it's not being passed down. So I'm doing the best I can.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I always love listening to you.
Well, thanks everyone for all of your comments and your sharing. And we thank you again for taking the time to put together a talk and come and share with us information that we all needed to hear. It enriches all of our life. And so, Fred, are you ready with a song?
I will try. Let me see if I can share this. This is a song we've all sung many times. I don't even know if it's in the book, but I have a copy of it. So this is an arrangement by Hoyle, which is slightly different than Joan Baez's arrangement. So I don't know. I'm going to try to, I was getting mixed up when I was practicing it, but we'll try to go through this kind of the way Joan did, sort of. But you can follow along, I'm sure. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. No If religion was a thing that money could buy, the rich would live and the poor would die. All my troubles, Lord, they will soon be over. Too late, my brother, too late, but never mind. It's all my troubles, Lord, will soon be over. There grows a tree in paradise. The pilgrims call it the tree of life. All my trials, Lord, will soon be over. Too late, my brothers, too late, but never mind. All my troubles, Lord, will soon be over.
All right. Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, as far as for announcements, one of the things that occurred to me, and I brought it up to our class this morning, was the possibility I just wanted you to think about it, and for the next week. We don't even need to discuss it right now, but the possibility of us maybe having some sort of a spring cleaning thing at the church, and then have some sort of a social gathering, perhaps a potluck or something, to where we can begin to get in our minds about easing back into our church, with everyone getting vaccinations and things, and the restrictions getting released. We can now have some hope. For the longest time, we couldn't even talk about getting back into our building, but now I think it's maybe still over the horizon, but we need to, I think if we start talking about it and maybe move in that direction is all that we're doing. So next Sunday is our board of directors meeting, and we'll be talking about that particular thing. I'm not suggesting that this is something we need to do in the next week or two, but I think we need to start thinking in that direction, or we'll never get there. We've learned in all of our studies that manifestation begins with thought, and then it is word, and then it actually manifests. And so I think that we need to actively participate in that manifestation process, because our main goal is to get back into our building, to resume normal life, and to include Zoom with it. So as would be an addition. So next week we're going to talk about that. What else, Jerry? Unmute. Oh yeah, next week is the spring time change. So we'll be starting it'll be an hour later. The time will change in the night, but so set your clocks ahead, spring forward in the spring, fall back in the fall. We've been all done it a bunch of times. So we'll know. Susan, you don't need to do anything. Yeah, you're already there, but we need to adjust. And so we will start, an hour later next time, but it'll still be the same times on our clock. So does anyone have anything that they would like to announce? We want to keep in mind those of our congregation and those that are related to our congregations to keep in mind the people who are struggling, either with, physical problems, financial problems, emotional problems. We all have harder times than others. And we find that when we bring our problems to the fellowship, that they are divided and our victories are multiplied. And so please keep in mind our Power of Eight is meeting on Thursday evenings at 6:30. And we have about 18 people that we're sending light and love to every Thursday. And you are welcome to come and participate with us on Zoom. Everybody can do this thing. Margaret, do you have anything you want to say about Power of Eight? You're not mute. You're muted.
It's really worth coming, and it's helpful to be able not only to send loving thoughts and healing light to others, but to realize you're receiving it yourself for things you may not even realize you need at the moment.
It really is powerful to all be doing it at the same time. We're not in the same place, but we are doing it at the same time. And we devote about 2 minutes to each and every person, just sending love and light to them. And we think it's having good effects on our end. And we have reports that it is helping a lot of people also.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's true.
Course in Miracles is on Wednesday nights, and Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Susan, do we need to adjust that time to make it easier for you, or just leave it like it is?
No, because it will be 6 my time. It's actually going to be easier on me.
Okay. All right. So that's good.
I like 6 o'clock. It works easier for me.
Well, 6 o'clock Wednesday night, we have our Course in Miracles study group, and we have several people who are coming from a church up in Colorado. Some who have made their way to our Sunday meetings, but there are several who are coming to our Course in Miracles group from, I think, a Unity group up in a Unity church up around Denver somewhere. So
Boulder.
Is it Boulder? Okay. And,
yeah.
But anyway, we enjoy all the new energy that's coming, and the new thoughts and the new people that are coming to our Course in Miracles group. It really makes it much more interesting. And of course, that's
Ron?
by Susan. Yes.
I would like to ask, I don't have a speaker for Easter Sunday or the last 2 weeks in April. So if anybody is inclined to want to speak in April, you could please get a hold of me and I can put you in there. But Travis is going to be our speaker the second Sunday of April, but the rest of the month is open, particularly Easter Sunday. So if you have a particularly interesting subject matter for Easter Sunday, please get a hold of me. I would love that. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, we have our March is full, and some of our April
Yes.
is full, but like she said, we like to be booked ahead and give people time to think about their talks and give, rather than being rushed at the end. Some people can do that, others cannot. So, but anyway, we have never had a failure. Every speaker who has spoken to us since we've been on Zoom has been wonderful, and we thank each and every one of them. Yeah. So, is there anything else that we need to talk about at this time? Anybody want to bring anything up? Okay. Well, Father, Mother God, we thank you for this opportunity to come together. We thank you for the venue of Zoom that allows us to meet face to face, even though we are not physically together, we are virtually together, and we thank you for that. We thank you for this venue to help us to keep our fellowship alive so that we don't lose those connections that we value so much and enriches our life. Thank you for bringing us together and helping us to share in a good way, and love and compassion as we learn and we grow together as individuals and as a congregation. We thank you for that opportunity. We ask that you would protect each and every one of us from any illnesses or mishaps that might happen in the next week or so. We thank you for our government providing us with vaccines against this deadly virus that has attacked our country. We thank you for that. We ask that you would touch each and every one of our lives in a good way and help us to keep our heads and our hearts and our hands open so that we may receive your love and be able to share it. In Christ's name, namaste. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for being here. I hope all of you have a wonderful week. It's going to be warmer and sunny, and it's going to be good. So have a good week. Bye-bye.
Susan, I need to visit with you a minute.